Good morning. It is February 24th, 2026. That is 11:30 a.m. and it's time for another Taco Tuesday here at WiLS. I am very excited to be joined by four of our amazing WiLS vendor partners to talk about some of the cool resources that they have available for our members. So without any further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn things over to who is now a Taco Tuesday veteran, my friend and yours, John Spike. John, are you ready to take over?
I think so. Hopefully everybody can see my screen okay.
Looks great.
All right, wonderful. Well, yeah, happy to be back at Taco Tuesday. Just wanted to introduce my team. And when I say team, it sounds like we're a large, mighty team, but it's literally myself and my wife here at GamestormEDU. So just a little bit of our background. So I'm a former high school English teacher. I now coordinate instructional technology at University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. I have my doctorate in instructional technology, but my passion project is tabletop board and card games, especially for the library and the classroom. So I design and publish board and card games. And thankfully, my better half, my wife, works on our team as well. She's a certified library media specialist, former fourth and fifth grade teacher, and she heads up our educational partnerships and curriculum development for our board and card games as well. And we are literally a mom and pop shop, so much so that I wanted to showcase the two most important members of our team. It's our daughters, Sloan and Quinn. They're 4 and 1 right now. And they're our early play testers, for our games, to see how young of individuals can play them. And what's fun is when you're a designer and publisher, you can put whoever you want into your games. So actually, Sloan is in our 2023 release Game Stormers. And Quinn is going to be in our upcoming release, Fantasy Loot Brawl, which I'll talk about both of those games today. So, just a little bit about our company. We've been around going on 5 years now. So, we publish games, we provide consulting and speaking as well. And our games are all educational board and card games by trade, so they work really well in public and K-12 libraries. And just a fun fact, when the day Sloan was born, we launched GamestormEDU, so that was really exciting. My wife had more important things on her mind, like giving birth to Sloan, so on that day. But it was kind of fun that we were able to send the paperwork, and shortly thereafter, our daughter was born. So about our games, we have Game Stormers, and the premise of Game Stormers is that you're trying to create the best five-card game narrative. So this game works really well as a starting point for then launching into creative activities, which I'll talk a little bit about later. And what's really great is I played it with uh, students as young as 6 and all the way up through adults. And it has beautiful artwork. So it has 139 unique pieces of card art that players can utilize to tell their stories. Our second game, which released last year, is Doom Scroll. This is a social media literacy game where students are trying to sell 3 ads the fastest by creating the most addictive social media feed. And so this game works really well for those middle and high school students, and then all the way through adulthood. We have 100 plus unique cards that mimic social media posts, all told through kind of fantasy themes. So it's werewolves and witches and vampires posting to social media instead of, real humans. So it's kind of a fun theme in order to get at social media literacy. And then one exciting development we have is we're currently play testing with students our next release, Fantasy Loot Brawl. And this is a strategic party game collection. So there's 3 games in one, and they're all about building your vocabulary through engaging kind of sports games that involve drafting and dueling and debating using drafted cards you selected, building your best team on a limited budget, and it can be all used with classroom vocabulary, which is really exciting too. So just we're not very good at bragging at GamestormEDU, but we are going to do it. We have been finalists in the G Awards, which is given out at the Madison, Wisconsin Play Make Learn conference. And then we recently won the silver medal at the International Serious Play Awards for our Doom Scroll game too. So we're just excited about some of the hardware we've collected for our games in the learning conference space. And just a little bit about purchasing. Our most popular purchase in the library setting is typically our 5 game sets of our Doom Scroll and Game Stormers games. Why they're popular is that the libraries can host events where a class of up to 30 students could be playing games. You could check out that classroom set to a classroom and teachers could use them. And it gives you some real flexibility for how the game is played. So that is typically $200. And then you can get a $5 off each copy discount. And also talk about how WiLS offers an additional discount in just a second for that. You can also just buy individual copies. So if you want to have our games as a station that students might, play just one off, or as a part of a class as one of the stations for a day of the week, we do offer single copies. They're $40 for GameStormers or Doom Scroll. And then you can go big too. If you have a uh, multiple schools in your district, or if you're part of a library system at the public level, you can buy our 25 game sets, and that gives you a 25% off all games discount, which is really powerful. So that would be $750. And again, $10 off each individual copy with that purchase. So the WiLS discounts that are offered through our partnership with WiLS, if you do that 25 game bundle, it's actually $50 off that entire purchase. The 5 game bundle, you can get $15 off in addition to the discounts we offer. And then you can get a $5 off discount through the single game bundle as well. All you do is when you're checking out, buying your tax exempt copies, you just put in that code and apply. And that is taken off of your final purchase. So really easy to use those codes. Those are on the WiLS site for our game bundles too. You can find them there. And I just wanted to kind of, end the segment here. I've got about, 9 minutes left. I was going to give you 5 reasons to use our games, with your students or your patrons or whoever it might be that you're working with. So here's kind of our top 5 reasons for using our games. Number one, we know from research that teens love games, and I'll talk a little bit about how it's not just teens that our games work well with, but a Pew Research study in 2024 found that 85% of teens, both male identifying and female identifying aggregate, play games on the regular. A lot of times it's video games, but board and card games are becoming more and more important to them. And what's great about our games is that they are screen free. They're collaborative, they're social, and so they build a lot of those skills that we want to see our students develop without screens being involved, where it sometimes can be a very isolated activity. So I thought that was a really important, piece of data to consider is that these games build on what students are passionate about, but in a little bit more literacy focused mindset. Here's just a couple of shots of some students playing our games. So these are 4th and 5th graders playing our GameStormers game. These are middle schoolers, 7th graders playing our Fantasy Loot Brawl prototypes right here as well. So it's just fun to see students playing, engaging, thinking, talking. Right now, students are building their 5 card narratives in this picture. I just really love seeing students playing our games. And then this is a quote from a student who play tested Fantasy Loot Brawl. I promise I did not pay this student to say it, but he said, "This is the best game I've ever played. I may want to sell my iPad." And I didn't follow up, with that particular student about, whether they followed through on that one. But it was fun to hear them say they love the screen-free play over, their tablet-based games. The second reason is that our games can actually align with recent, science of reading literacy principles. So you can actually utilize games to further, literacy development in that area. So we actually built in some phonemic and graphemic practice with GameStormers, and just across the board, our games align with good science of reading literacy practices as well. So one example of that would be that we've built in just free resources in our lesson library where you can actually have a full breakdown of phoneme and grapheme use of all of our cards. So if you're working on students practicing how to break down and structure and speak, and practice that speaking patterns and that identification of how words are constructed, we have free resources to allow you to do that while engaging in play and topics that engage with students. I really like this quote. This was from a 4th grade student named McKenna. She actually talked about how games can promote literacy. So she said, "I liked how this game is versatile. My teacher can use the game for literacy and use the characters from a story." So she liked that Fantasy Loot Brawl and Game Stormers and other titles that we have can be but linked to literacy practices in the classroom. Third reason to utilize our games in your library setting is that games can lead right into making activities. And we actually have free curriculum on our website that allows you to do it with our games. So one example of that is we have a free 15-day, 1 hour each day design course. And what's really great about this game design course is you can tailor it to be just pulling out 2 to 3 days of it to do with your students. You could do it one day sequentially through your library, through a after school program, through a library visit program, and you can again customize it to age groups or how much time you have available. So you could do just a couple lessons from it. You could do the whole thing. It could be a ready-made summer school course if you wanted it to be. Some other ways you can do maker activities. We have free card templates of our Game Stormers and Doom Scroll cards. So you can actually go in and have students or patrons make their own cards to put back into their game. So they can customize it, make their own if they'd like to. And we have those templates in Google Slides, Canva, PowerPoint, whatever they choose to make. Or you could print them off and have them physically make them instead too. What This is a quote from a middle school student. He said about game stormers, what I like most was the option for you to make your own story. You get to kind of create your own game while playing game stormers. So it actually started you on the game creation process as you're playing the game. So that was a really cool quote to hear from a middle schooler. Reason number four to play our games in the classroom, they can be used in connection with any subject that you're exploring. So games can be used with literacy, math and numeracy, vocabulary practice across any subject, science, social studies, what have you, and more. So some examples of that is we have in our Game Stormers game visual dice that have iconography on it. We have 139 cards with unique art on them. And so one activity we have is where students actually connect the vocab they're learning to the visuals on the dice and the cards in order to make those metaphorical connections. Really fun vocabulary practice method that engages them in playful learning. We also have the math of game design lessons that we include in here. So we have a lesson plan where students actually decide and figure out what optimal dimensions they want for a game they'd love to make. And then they figure out how many game copies could I get on a pallet, a standard size pallet? How many pallets of that game could I get into a shipping container if I was making 50,000 copies of my game? And they engage in some really interesting real world mathematics that I actually used when deciding how to get my games from my manufacturer over to my distributor. Another example too is that a lot of times our librarians and our teachers will have game stormers lead right into writing activities. So they'll actually have students play a few rounds of game stormers, make some narratives, and then write about their narratives to practice writing and persuasive speaking. And then last but not least, our Doom Scroll game is really powerful for reflective social media use. So after playing Doom Scroll and learning about social media literacy, it launches right into talking about what are you going to be more cognizant of as you're scrolling through your social media feeds in the future. And that leads into a quote from a librarian who teaches at a middle school and is also a parent of high schoolers. She said about Doom Scroll, this game encourages students to critically examine their digital habits. And I thought that was great to hear from both a parent and a librarian who is, well aware of students and their social media feeds and navigating those ethically. And then last but not least, I like to tell people I come with the games. So if you buy one copy of our game or 25, I will speak to your students for free. And I also offer opportunities to play test our upcoming games like Fantasy Loot Brawl. So you can have me either come speak to your students physically. I'll do video calls. I was just on a video call earlier today with seventh graders from Illinois talking about game design with them. So here's me guest speaking to some elementary students. And what's really cool is when people hear me talk, students, parents, whoever it might be, I always hear this, that it's a very family friendly talk and our games are very family friendly. Game Stormers appeals to young middle school, high schoolers and adults. And so it's really appealing to all ages, both my talks and our games. And so last but not least, I'll just wrap up my time by saying if you are interested in our games, you can just go to GamestormEDU.com and we have the shop tab. We have a tax exempt purchase tab on that specifically for public libraries and K-12 libraries. And then just don't forget too, we have the WiLS discounts. So we have the school set and game bundle for those different purchasing levels. And I think that is about all my time. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Thanks again for being here today. I uh, would say that of the top five reasons, I would say my favorite is number five, that the game comes with John. John's amazing. It's always delight to see you. But I would say my second favorite is that it really emphasizes the face-to-face analog game, which it makes my heart sing to hear an elementary schooler say, "I'd like to get rid of my iPad in favor of more card games." I'm like, yes, you're speaking my language. So anyway, great. Thank you again for joining us, John. All right, let me share my screen one more time to get us set up for our next presenter coming back for another Taco Tuesday veteran, Sarah Probst, coming to us from Springshare. Sarah, are you ready to take over here?
I sure am. Let me go ahead and pop up my desktop here. Okay. I think we're all set as long as you're seeing my screen.
Looks good.
Thank you. Yeah, always glad to be back for Taco Tuesday. It really is one of my favorite events throughout the year, if only for the name. No, more than that. So, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is that you may be watching the recording. My name's Sarah Probst. I'm the Consortia and Reseller Sales Manager at Springshare and your primary point of contact besides WiLS for all things Springy. So, I am going to talk to you about some newer products that we have, which is very exciting. As much as I love to talk about our full range of resources that have been in circulation for some time, of course, Springshare resources that you can get via WiLS, LibGuides, LibGuides CMS, eReserves, LibWizard, two versions of LibCal, LibCal Core, LibCal Pro, LibAnswers, LibInsight for your statistics needs, LibStaffer, and then also LibConnect. So those are what we have available on offer generally, but I've got some new ones for you. First one up is going to be LibMaps. So we initially announced this last year. I believe I talked with y'all a little bit about it at the time, but we now have many of our initial adopters live on the platform, which is really exciting. LibMaps is a multi-purpose wayfinding tool. So it helps your patrons navigate library spaces, find precise locations of your holdings, and locate any space or service area in the building. It's going to bring together information about your collections, your spaces, your places, all in one web tool. So users can easily discover detailed information about every element of your library from this one interface, which is going to help to bridge that digital to physical library experience. Um, as you all are very aware, for all the planning that goes into our buildings and spaces, sometimes we end up with places that are a little bit out of the way, odd to find, just a little bit quirky. In this way, your patrons can always do wayfinding or find their way to what they're looking for with LibMaps. Now, last time I was with y'all, I talked a fair bit about integrations that are available across our products, and LibMaps is no exception. So, first thing I want to highlight is that LibMaps integrates seamlessly with LibCal, and it's going to allow patrons to see real-time availability of spaces and seats, view equipment checkout locations, book and view appointments and tutoring locations via the appointment scheduler, and then also click on any hotspot in the map to view information about library facilities, various departments, staff offices, all that sort of thing. Now, the foundation of LibMaps is images, right? So you're going to have images of buildings, floors, maybe even sections of your floors. The system is incredibly good at hierarchy, so we can do a lot of drill down with the different maps. Hotspots in our parlance are interactive areas of the image which, when you click, pop up additional information. I'll show you here in just a minute. There's many different types of image files out there, but we specifically use SVG files. I like to point this out because our research has indicated that these deliver the best viewing experience across all of your devices. They're superior for scaling and zooming, and they're also better for accessibility and SEO since they're encoded text files and can be read. Now, We wanted to make it easy to communicate and share the different areas of your LibMaps with patrons. So to that end, each hotspot, clickable spot in the map, I know there's a little bit of disambiguation to be done there, has a persistent URL. So you're going to be able to share that hotspot link via email, chat, SMS, any of the ways in which you communicate with your patrons. So this is going to save your staff some time in explaining directions as your patrons are going throughout your building. Now, we are going to take a look at our patron interface, and I do have that pulled up here. This is our example, but there are many different ways that you can actually use your LibMaps. So for our demo system, I actually just want to point out that we're going to see a finder area over here, and that these have 4 different types of finders, right? These are going to be spaces, events, places, and holdings. The first 3 of those are going to be building or location specific, but that holdings finder is for your whole collection. So you may have caught that we can do ILS integration with this in the last slide, and that is very much the case, which is how we're going to surface things in the holdings finder. Just to quickly talk about each of these different finders and how they work in the patron interface, the Spaces Finder is fully integrated with LibCount's Spaces module. So this is going to allow patrons to view the building's bookable spaces and also see availability, any additional information. So let's say, for example, that I am going to look for something at 1:30 today. And we're going to see that I actually have space availability on 3 different floors. Now, remember I was talking a second ago about drilling down, and this is what we can really do to go from a big building map down into a floor level map, or again, even partial floor level maps. We'll see here that for the spaces, those ones that are available are going to be highlighted in green so folks can easily get that visual cue. We'll also see on the side that if there were any other colors being highlighted, that we have our handy little key over here at the side. Now, the Events Finder, again, also hooked into LibCount. You'll be able to see any of the upcoming library events as well as links to those locations. So this is great if you hold library events in different areas, you have a very large building, or again, something that's a little bit with a wonky floor plan. So maybe you have some events that are in your auditorium, some are in your children's section, some are in the classroom. This is going to help people navigate easily to your different events. Now, our Places Finder, I'm just going to go back 2 levels here. So our Places Finder, the idea here is that it's ideal for directing patrons to points of interest in your library. So restrooms, elevators, computer lab, cafes, those are the big kind of things that we tend to think of. So for example, if I do click on cafe, because any time of day is a good time for a cup of coffee as far as I'm concerned. When we click on that, we're actually taken directly to the map where that area or where that place is located, and we can see it's flashing too. So again, simplifying navigation throughout your library. In your Holdings Finder, this is where that ILS integration comes into play. So Holdings Finder is going to allow you to map your stacks collection so patrons can easily find physical items that exist on your shelves. LibMaps makes it a lot easier to find things for patrons without intervention. And again, if you connect your ILS to LibMaps, you're going to be able to enable searching from within the interface right up here. What I can do is when the item is found, when I search that, it will actually show which of my stacks it's found in. Now, there's actually 3 different kind of areas I want to talk about with the Holdings Finder. Of course, that search bar with the ILS integration is one. Second one I want to talk about is our collection area just down below there. So each of your stacks can be part of a collection, of course, audiobooks, new fiction, you name it. Collections feature is a great way to highlight materials that are all in the same call number range, but may be in different areas. Specifically, I'm thinking like oversized books, kits, things like that. So for your collections, again, clicking on the link here is going to take us and highlight where we can find those new books. So any kind of collection can be broken out in that way. Now, the third area of this holdings finder is going to be our subject area down here. We currently support Library of Congress and Dewey call number systems, but we're planning on expanding more, depending on what our customers need. So this subject area is really great for, say, public libraries who maybe want to highlight books on taxes or cookbooks or other things that you want to point out at different times of the year, right? For academic folks, you might want to highlight a specific subject area that's tied to a really prominent program at your university. So nursing, for example, comes to mind for that. Just a couple different ways that you're able to use these holding finders area. Now, let me go ahead and hop back over to my PowerPoint. That's LibMaps in a nutshell, but I've got another one for you too. Again, talked a bit about this last year, but very happy to announce the progress that we've made on LibSites plus the patron portal. So this one is going to enable you to deliver a customized website experience for your patrons. It's not a replacement for your LibGuides or LibGuide CMS system. It's just a really excellent complement. LibSites includes some of our fan favorite features like a drag and drop builder, a native link checker, an integrated blog builder, and a whole lot more. LibSites with the patron portal allows you to connect with your ILS to provide patrons real-time account information, targeted messages, upcoming events, all sorts of things. Now, we can actually do this in two ways too. Say that you're interested in LibSites functionality, but not the patron portal, we can do that. Or you can have both. Up to you, just depends on what you need. Now, LibSites, this component is a super easy drag and drop way to build cohesive websites complete with hierarchy and nesting, standalone web pages, blogs, and a really modern interface that makes it nice to create beautiful web pages. So drag and drop navigation menu in your header is optimized for mobile devices right out of the box. You don't have to worry about doing additional coding. Things are going to resize naturally based on the way that we've built the platform. LibSites also has a built-in accessibility checker. This may be of particular interest to folks these days, and that's powered by the IBM Accessibility Equal Access Toolkit. So that's going to allow you to scan your LibSites web pages for issues and receive detailed error reports. It's not going to correct the errors for you, but it will tell you where they occur. Oh, and if you're already a LibGuides customer and you're using the LibGuides blogs functionality, you can easily import your blog posts into LibSites as well. So each system comes with one branded domain and 5 subdomains, but you can add more for an additional price if you'd like. Now, the other piece of this is the personalized patron portal. And what this is customizable based on your needs. So meaning you get to choose the level of integration and personalization that's right for your library. The patron portal pulls information directly from your ILS and your LibApp systems, showing patrons their item statuses, registered LibCal events, submitted LibAnswers tickets, and quite a number of other things. You can further craft a custom homepage experience for your patrons based on a customizable audience type like student, resident, staff, faculty, that sort of thing. This means you can show one set of resources and links for patrons, maybe in your immediate area who are residents, and then different resources for out-of-town patrons or something like that. Now, I have one more for you too, and I promise, keeping my eye on the time, that I will get through this pretty quickly. But this LibConnect Pro is also something new that we have coming out this year. Well, that is out and is being installed. If you're familiar with the base LibConnect system, it builds on all those efficient features, and I will highlight that in just a second. The idea with LibConnect Pro is that you're pairing dynamic and automated email marketing with robust ILS integration. So like LibConnect, you're going to be able to import patron profiles, build emails and newsletters, and incorporate your springy subscriptions like LibCal and LibAnswers. The idea here is to increase your patron outreach activities without having to spend a whole lot of time on them. So, the upgraded LibConnect Pro system features automated drip campaigns to keep your patrons engaged, dynamic content tailored to audience segments, integration with LibCal events and event feeds, and then also attractive ILS notices with some SMS options. I absolutely want to get to the ILS notices. This is one of those things that I really love about LibConnect Pro. It's going to help you customize the types of notices that you can send to your patrons. So we can see that this is more than just the standard ILS notice as far as what's due and some text. And this way you're really able to do more branding. Last but not least, I'm going to flash this up here on the screen very quickly, and I'm always happy to answer questions about our ILS integrations as well, but this is who we're currently integrating with for LibConnect Pro. Now, that was a very quick overview of 3 of our newest products. There's lots to go into for each of them, and we're happy to do that. If you do want an individual one-on-one demo, please contact WiLS. WiLS will get in touch with us, and we'll keep on keeping on. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you, Sarah. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Like many people in our profession, I was once a student employee in a library tasked with pulling books from shelves on patron demand, and I cannot tell you the number of times I returned disheartened at not finding a book only to realize it was in the oversized section. So I wish I had had LibMaps then. There was barely even an internet then, I'm ashamed to say, so it might not have worked out. But anyway, thank you again for showing us everything here. And as Sarah said, reach out to us if you've got any questions. All right, let's get ourselves set up for our third presentation. Coming to us are Mara and Trish, who are joining us from EBSCO, another long-time vendor partner with WiLS. So we're delighted to have you here. And I'm going to stop sharing so that you can take over.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Let's see. Let me just click here. Sorry, I'm a little more used to Teams than Zoom. So there. Now, can folks see my
Yep,
screen?
we can see that.
Okay. All right. Hi, I'm Mara Eggerman. We are EBSCO, myself and Trish, my new partner, who's going to speak in a moment. So I am your traveling librarian rep for the last 18 months or so, working with Wisconsin libraries. Right now I'm broadcasting from beautiful Wausau. Special hi to Katie and Matt from North Central Tech, who I saw today. Very nice to meet you guys both. I live in St. Paul. Let's see here. I live in St. Paul, and my partner in the home office near Boston is Trish. Trish replaces Daniel Herrick, and I know everybody loves Daniel, but you're all going to also love Trish. Daniel says hi. But Trish, do you want to say a couple words about yourself? So folks
Sure.
they know you from the phone usually.
Yes, I know
There
I
she
have
is.
I have big shoes to fill, but I'm Trish and I'm really glad to be here today. I'm based in the Boston area and we just got about 2 feet of snow during a blizzard yesterday. So it's nice to be inside on this call instead of shoveling, which I spent the morning doing. But I live in Ipswich, Massachusetts with my husband and our 2 teenage boys. And a quick fun fact about me is that when I was in college, I was a contestant on The Price is Right. At that time, I was really fortunate to meet Bob Barker, who was the host at the time. And I'm sure I just aged myself pretty well, but that's all right. Anyway, I'm new to your accounts, but I have been with the EBSCO for nearly a decade in the EBSCO Learning Division. So it may take me a little bit of time to get to know each of you, but I'm here to support you however I can. So please never hesitate to reach out. Thanks, Mara.
Great. Thank you, Trish. So as of, about December 1st, Trish has been my partner. And I should mention too that before I came to EBSCO, where I've also been for almost 10 years, I can't believe it. I was the manager of a 2-year college library in Iowa. where I lived for many years, and I worked at a four-year college. My first library job was at Memorial Library in Madison. I was an undergrad at UW-Madison for 7 years of rock and roll when I had my graduation party. I had a lot of fun too in Madison. Anyway, back to topics here. So this is a list of all of us that work for you at EBSCO and all the things we cover. I can send this, or I'll put it it's on the slides so that Jeff will send those out afterwards. So you've got all the information you need about who's who. We also have a list that I call EBSCO What, because there are so many EBSCO tools right now, and I'm sorry about that, but we can help you navigate which one is which. Since the new EBSCO host interface was released almost 2 years ago now, there's a tool, there's EBSCO Admin, which I'm sure some of you love. Some of you don't. I didn't like to use it. There were some tabs to nowhere and things, but that is still something that you'll need for some usage stats and things like that. The newer tool is called EBSCO Experience Manager. We're told that that's going to become, sort of the one tool to rule them all, that there will be fewer tools in the future. But for now, you kind of do need both EBSCO Admin and EBSCO Experience Manager if you're the administrator in your library. I won't go into detail with all those things, but we'll get those to you. And this is something we mentioned in the last Taco Tuesday. We did this once before, about a year ago. It bears repeating though, because it's free. And when business students and business instructors and faculty do their research, it's just different than other academic disciplines. So as you can see in the little screenshot here, what you can do is search by, company profiles by country or by industry, a particular SWOT analysis, or what do they call it? The market line research, reports on a company. So there's this intuitive visual interface that you can have in addition to having all that business source content that you get from WiLS or from BadgerLink. In regular EBSCO hosts. So you can have both. And a lot of business faculty might want to have this interface linked from their course site in Canvas or Blackboard or Moodle, so that students can go directly into the kind of resources that they need for business. So feel free to either click the little pink button in EBSCO Connect to get support to provide you with a link for that, or you can write to one of us and we'll be happy to provide you with that. All right, our two featured resources today are CINAHL Ultimate and OpenAthens. Many of you subscribe to CINAHL for nursing, and we just want you to know the various levels and why, especially those of you who already have CINAHL Complete, why you may want to aspire to move up to CINAHL Ultimate. So beyond the significant jump in full text content, if you look at I guess it's the fourth line down there, you can see that there's quite a bit more active full text journals and magazines, more than twice. The thing that I like to tell people about that they may not have heard is that there's a whole list of instructional videos. This is only at the ultimate level, not at any of the other levels of CINAHL, but I think it's a very valuable asset. There are 138 videos. These are not the same as those continued ed videos that are in some of our databases. These are unique, and the link there will go to all the instructional videos. Here's just kind of an example. These range from about 3 minutes to 15 minutes. Sorry, I've got a cough drop. I'm still recovering from a little sickness last week. We'd be happy to provide a free trial if anybody wants to take a look at this or show their faculty, so you can kind of assess what the value of these videos might be. But they are, we've had great response to these. And again, it's just not that well known that that's one thing that's only available at the ultimate level with CINAHL. If anyone has questions on that, you can put them in the chat or write to me or Trish. And then our second featured topic today is OpenAthens, which is the main kind of OpenAthens that most of you may have heard of is now being rebranded as OpenAthens Compass. There's a much smaller, really scaled back version if any of you are in, maybe a little, we have like seminary libraries and some very small libraries that have like 5 resources that they connect to with OpenAthens, which is an authentication tool. It replaces EasyProxy, but is a much more powerful tool than EasyProxy. I don't think I'm supposed to say the name, but there's a significant institution in the state of Wisconsin that's just going to be moving to OpenAthens very soon, and they may talk about it at a conference in the future. OpenAthens continues to gain popularity for security. It's never been hacked, for single sign-on. And in my mind, the really powerful reporting that helps a library not only show its value on campus or the return on investment for reporting to the administrative level above the library and also above IT because they're involved with this as well. But to help those higher level administrators who are in charge of showing which factors on campus influence student outcomes, which is part of a higher learning commission standard. So it's not just a replacement for EasyProxy, like I said, but offers much more. I worked with a library that moved to OpenAthens a few years back, and the library director was kind enough to share with me the strategy that he took submitting a petition to the administrative level on campus that was both above the library and above IT for getting that level on campus to pay for it. Like I said, it's a much bigger tool than EasyProxy, and it does cost more than EasyProxy. So we have this wonderful model petition that this library director was willing to share with me, with anonymous, not saying where it's coming from, but to help show other libraries how they might do the same thing and get some help funding OpenAthens. And if you'd like a copy of the petition, I'd be happy to send that to you. This is a little bit of text from the petition that I just wanted to point out. Because those higher level administrators on campus have to not only show what happens on campus affects what in student outcomes, but they have to show that for their accreditation with the Higher Learning Commission. So this is something that can be very important for them and that then they should pay for, right? Not the library. So there's kind of an FAQ in our EBSCO Connect repository. And if you haven't looked at EBSCO Connect, it's wonderful for all kinds of information about everything from EBSCO. Lots of great training modules and ongoing classes. And we'd be happy to provide a demo for your library or your library and IT together and provide this petition, like I said. Okay, and we can take some questions. There's my little Subaru that EBSCO provides for me. Her name is Elsa, and she has an EBSCO license plate for now. I did live in Iowa for many years, and now that I've moved to St. Paul recently, I have to get a new license plate. So this is probably the last time we'll be able to share the little goldfinch and the EBSCO license plate on Elsa the Subaru. So I really appreciate everything. Is there anything you want to add, Trish, to our little spiel here?
No, I don't think so. I just love your car, though I can't get over it.
I do too. She needed a bit of work lately because she's had a lot of miles. She's gone a lot of places, but otherwise, yeah, it's been fun. Fun ride. All right. So let's see if I can see how to stop sharing. There we go. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mara and Trish. I have to admit, I have heard we've talked about OpenAthens multiple times before, and I don't know if either it didn't click with me, or I just maybe never even thought of the authentication method being a factor in making a case about library resources and student outcomes. So that's a fascinating take on that topic, and I think that could really be compelling. And I particularly like your strategy of using that as leverage to get somebody else to pay for
Somebody
it.
else to pay for it. That's my favorite thing. I love to be able to talk with libraries about things that they can get that they don't have to pay for. And I'll just clarify that what you do is to use it as an SSO, single sign-on, and connect the use of library resources to your student learning management platform, so not Compass, Canvas or Blackboard, and then your student information system, which might be some people use like Workforce or something, but there are GenStar, some of those things, and then even alumni data. So then you can run a report saying, you know, I had 25 first-year nursing students. Anonymously, I can see that 15 of them used the library resources more often. You can see that they did better in their classes, which we know they do, of course, but this is data on that. And then that they got better grades in their classes, and then they got a job within their field within 6 months of graduation or whatever it might be. So that's the part that's really valuable for those higher level administrators, is seeing the data by bringing all those things together.
That's really amazing. So I definitely think that that's going to be an impactful talking point. I'm sure you're getting good feedback on that concept. So thanks so much for sharing it with us today, Mara.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, I'm going to share my screen one last time just to set the table for our fourth presenter. Subbing in, we had a different vendor ready to present today, and they weren't able to make it. Susan, the hero, came through.
Yay.
And has stepped in to talk to us about FactCite. So, Susan, I am so delighted to have you here today, and the show's all yours.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeff. And actually, you're the hero, because I had neglected to sign up, and I was standing by. I said, if you get a cancellation, and you got in touch. So thank you.
Well, it's my pleasure.
All right. Now I need to share and start from the beginning. Hello, everyone. It's great to be back at Taco Tuesday. I really enjoy the opportunity to share FactCite with Wisconsin librarians. And if any of you are going to be at the Dells next week for the Wisconsin, for the WIMTA conference, stop by and say hello. FactCite's a collection of databases for students in kindergarten through high school or public library patrons. You can choose to subscribe to a single FactCite database through WiLS, or you can choose a bundle, and there are, of course, savings. We also offer discounts for school districts. So if you have 3 or more schools in your district that choose to subscribe to FactCite, everybody gets a discount. I'm going to go through the list of FactCite databases quickly, and then we'll go to FactCite Live to take a look at how easy it is to use. FactCite databases include FactCite Lingo, which offers English and Spanish with an authentic Spanish translation in an engaging user interface. This is a great database for Spanish language learners or native Spanish speakers who are learning English. FactCite 123 is written at about a second grade reading level, but with a screen design that we call stigma-free. So older students who have not yet achieved their grade level reading proficiency can use this database without a stigma. It doesn't look too babyish. It covers science, social studies, and English language arts. And it is the foundation of our K-8 bundle. So every one of the modules features a step up to a reading challenge link. So if your student is reading about Thomas Edison at the second grade level and they're ready to read a little bit higher reading level, they click a link at the end of the article and it will take them to the next reading level. We have 4 biography databases. Biography for Beginners, which was a product in print, collected biography published twice a year until 2013. When they joined FactCite, we brought all their biographies online in a searchable database, historic and contemporary figures. And if we were all in a room together, I would say, can anybody guess who the #1 search in biography for beginners has been for 2025 into 2026? Somebody would raise their hand and take a guess, and I would say Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is the #1 search, followed closely by LeBron James and Michael Jordan. We also have 3 additional biography databases. These were all formerly collections of biographies that were available in print encyclopedias. In 2010, we launched FactCite and we brought all of our print resources online, searchable databases, keep the content updated, and we, of course, add content just about weekly to our databases. U.S. and World Biography has about 10,000 biographies. Shapers of Society just has 101. It's 100 entries. The 101 comes because the Wright brothers are 2 people. These are narrative biographies of different people from different fields of endeavor who shaped our world. And then the Lincoln Library of Sports Champions, which was a 14-volume print encyclopedia published from 1973 until 2013 in print. It's now available, a searchable database online. We keep those biographies updated. And if you've got sports fans in your school or patron group, this is a great database for browsing or for research. Now, you're headed to Weemta next week. We're going to be doing a session. Sarah Wayland of Appleton is going to be doing a session on biographies and how elementary students find great success using FactCite for biography research. Our FactCite's a small company, and we think of all of our subscribers as partners. So over the years, our Wisconsin subscriber database has grown, and we've responded to that by adding significant numbers of historic Wisconsinite profiles to our databases. If you're interested in receiving the full list of notable Wisconsinites who are featured in FactCite, just email owls@factsite.com, or you can email me too. I put my email address in the chat, and we'll send you over the list. And if you're a subscriber and you'd like to make a request, send it over. It's free market research for us. Our editors love to hear what all of you are wishing we would include in FactCite. Now back to the list. This is the most heavily used of our databases, our mythology database, and subscribers who include this in their subscription typically use it in one time frame during the year when the mythology research is going on. This started out as the online home of our Greek and Roman mythology collection, which was a 5-volume encyclopedia in print, but we've subsequently added mythologies of the world. So there's lots of Norse, Native American, African mythology for your students to research and explore. FactCite includes 3 history databases. The first one, American History, is a general encyclopedia covering people, places, and events. It's got a great module on the U.S. states, Native Americans. There's a fabulous module on elections. It features every election from George Washington to Donald Trump. Includes maps that show what states were in the Union at the time of the election and how the voting went. Defining moments in U.S. history, we partnered with Omni Graphics. Some of you may own the 35+ volume print series. Goes from the writing of the Constitution through to the events of September 11th, covering major moments or movements in American history like Woodstock, Roe v. Wade, the history of the LGBTQ movement, Lewis and Clark expedition, the wars, the Gilded Age. They're primary sources. It's a great resource for students in about grade 5 or up. And then we also partnered with the Schlager Group. Schlager publishes milestone documents in American history, world history, and we've brought 1,700 of their primary source documents with scholarly analysis by 200 scholars from around the world in a searchable database. This is a great resource for high schools. There's teacher lesson plans, maps, classroom discussion points. It's a really rich collection. And then these additional databases, Science and Technology, which includes the elements, the solar system, animals, planets, chemistry, climate, controlled substances, 4th grade and up. It's a target from, remember I mentioned at the beginning, FactCite 123 has science content. When you click at the end of the entry, it takes you to further study on science and technology at about a 5th grade reading level. Our countries and cultures, we're getting a lot of interest in this because many of you may know the CIA about a week ago stopped hosting the CIA World Factbook, which was a free resource for information on the countries of the world. Our Countries and Cultures database is a great replacement for that. It's very affordable. You can ask WiLS for pricing, but I'll just say that most of our database subscriptions are $200 or less per school building or per library. So check out Countries and Cultures if you'd like to have your students see if it meets their needs for country research. And then finally, we have Essential Information, which is a general reference high school public library. It covers things like film studies, literature of the world, religion, theater, dance. There's a great section on music and music genres with little sound clips of about 100 different musical genres. It's a great database for general knowledge and research. Now I'm going to go to FactCite Live so that you can take a look at how FactCite actually works. And how am I doing on time, Jeff? I have got about 4 minutes left. So each of the databases I've mentioned is designated by an icon here. And let's see, I think I will take a look at Biography for Beginners to show you. Search by keyword, search by special topic index, search by the alphabetical listing. And let's go to the most popular entry, Taylor Swift. Every entry includes a quote by or about the person. This is kind of a FactCite hallmark. There's audio read-along here, which is a great accessibility tool. It allows the student to read, to listen to the article. It also offers translation into 22 languages. This is it's possible that's not going to work well within the Zoom environment, but it allows the student to translate into 22 languages. It is a Google Translate. Let's see if that'll come up. Let's choose Ukrainian because that's been a popular one. And it will read in Ukrainian also. Your newly arrived students may not be reading literate in their first language, but the audio read-along will be helpful for them. There's also page masking and other features that will allow the student to do more research. We also have citations on every single FactCite page. We're fully integrated with Noodle tools. Many schools use that as a resource. And I want to show you, we're about to launch a new updated interface. So you see this is just a little bit fresher looking. The fonts have changed, the colors have been livened up a bit. So this will launch in early March, just a slightly updated interface to make FactCite look a little bit more modern and a little bit easier for students to use. At the bottom of every FactCite page, there's tips for teachers where we offer videos, teacher resources by database, and teacher resources by month. This month, we're of course featuring Black History Month. Next month, Women's History Month. April is Poetry Month. There are lesson plans and activities that teachers can share. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint to wrap things up. Distraction-free and consistent screen design. So once a student learns to use any FactCite database, it's quite easy for him or her to progress. Students can view in a number of different ways. I didn't show you that, but it's an easy way for students to toggle between page by page and one page. We have quizzes included in many of our database entries, audio read-along, enlarged text. Students can change the font. They can use the page mask. We can integrate with your learning management systems. We've got the citations on every page. I mentioned that. Tips for teachers have lesson plans. FactCite has databases for students at every level. And students love FactCite. They love using FactCite. We're very proud of the fact that our renewal rate is more than 98% every year. And here's a quote that we just received. I was just at the New Jersey School Library Conference, and one of our subscribers said, "When I introduce students to FactCite and have them evaluate our other databases in comparison, they overwhelmingly choose FactCite as the place where they can find more information about their topics." So check it out. If you haven't ever tried FactCite, we're very liberal with the trials. We're not as well known as our competitors, but we think if you give your students a chance to test drive FactCite, they're going to find that they have research success using it. We're always here to help. You can contact WiLS for pricing. As I mentioned, subscriptions are quite affordable. Request our Wisconsin list of biographies or lesson plans, or sign up for a trial by emailing owls@factsite.com, or you can email me also, or you can give us a call. We answer the phone. There's no voicemail tree here. Thanks so much to WiLS for giving us the opportunity to talk with Wisconsin librarians. Wisconsin is our third best state in terms of the number of FactCite subscribers, and we're looking forward to adding more of you. So get in touch and join the FactCite family. And we'll see you next week in the Dells if you're going to be there. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Susan. So it's always a pleasure to have you here. I love seeing what's new at FactCite. I think the new user interface that you give us a little preview of looks great.
Thank you.
I will be at WIMTA. I don't know if I had known that last time we talked, but I am going to be there, so I will make sure to seek you out and at least say hello.
All right, we'll cross paths in the exhibit hall. I'll look forward to that, Jeff.
Excellent. Well, thanks again for being with us today.
Thank you.
All right, so let me share my screen one more time just to take us into our wrap up for today's session. Thank you to all four of our presenters. Again, here they are. I thought they did a great job. I loved seeing everything we saw today. Thank you for those of you attending. Some of you are here live. Many of you will be watching this on recording. So I will reiterate what some of our folks have said here. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. If you want a trial, if you want a quote, if you need any information about what you've seen here today, please do reach out to us. The best way to reach us here is at our email address, which actually I'm going to need to amend these slides to put the email address right on the slide, but the email address is coop, that's COOP @wils.org. That's the best way to reach us. We are rolling along with Taco Tuesday, so we've got our next session coming up in 2 more weeks, March 10th, and we'll see you there. Thanks again to everyone, and have a great afternoon. Bye.